is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. They're losing their edge, but they were there.
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a good time today. We are celebrating the start of a new year. We've got over 100 episodes of this show, which is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
We're just rolling right along.
I know, merrily.
And we have a lovely conversation with Anne E DeChant. I can't believe it.
Try it again.
Anne E DeChant.
I think it's DeChant.
DeChant. Things I should have looked up before we started recording.
I know. Should we look it up?
Why stop now?
Because she's our friend and we don't want to mess up her name. Right. We really like her.
Yes, okay. So do that.
Well, how am I going to know how to pronounce it?
Do you put it into like that Google Babelfish thing where it pronounces things for you?
I don't know. I don't do that.
I would try that, but I feel like I think it's DeChant. Because when I put it like stuff into Alexa, she's always playing me the live versions of songs.
Right.
And the other day she played me Angst in My Pants by Sparks.
That's amazing.
So I don't know if you've been reading the Bob Dylan book.
Funnily, it is one of the things I just got for Christmas.
Interesting. How far into it are you?
I haven't gotten there yet because I should show you what I got for Christmas. Mind you, the only gifts I've gotten are from Dave.
Right.
Well, I can tell you what I got. I mean, obviously, I got tickets to Bono's last show, which is unreal. So we'll be in New York. So you'll have to come up one of those days.
I'm busy that day.
We can go see. Nikki already said we could stay with them. But all the stuff, and I mean, but we'll have to see Nikki, and you can maybe we can go see Rob, or maybe we can. I don't know. We'll figure all that out. But
yes,
I got Dylan's book.
Mm-hmm.
I got Chandler's book, Matthew Perry's book.
Okay, that's one way to call it.
Yes. I got the George Michael biography that just came out.
Oh, very nice.
Which looks amazing. And I got the Andy Gibb biography that just came out.
So it was a very happy holiday season for you.
It really was. So guess which one I had to read first?
George Michael.
No.
Andy Gibb.
Yes.
Close.
Part of the reason that was the selection is because it was the shortest, but also because it's Andy Gibb. So
I see. You know how I feel about Bob.
I do.
It's a good book. It's interesting. There were some really great fun facts I learned about the records.
Yes.
There's a lot of his sort of pontificating and rolling off of songs and going to all these different places, which is great. The fact that he includes Witchy Woman by the Eagles is not great.
I know how you feel about the Eagles.
There's also a few words in this book that I wish I didn't have to hear Bob say if I'm listening to the audiobook or read in print reading it.
Okay.
I don't need to hear Bob use the C word, is where I'm coming from.
No.
Yeah, that's the one where it's just a bridge too far.
It doesn't even feel natural for it to
where
come out of
I
his mouth.
Literally out loud just said, whoa, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean, other people, weirdly, it's not that problematic if
Right.
it's the right person, but
Right.
yeah, that's
it's not the
really,
word, it's the person
it's the
saying
person
the word.
saying it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so look out for that.
I'm prepared now.
But
I'll be ready.
otherwise, it's delightful.
I'm very excited to read
And you
it.
saw the interview he did with the Wall Street Journal where he was saying what TV shows he doesn't like and what he watches.
No.
So he apparently is a huge fan of Coronation Street,
Oh my God, my parents will be so happy.
who have invited him to make a cameo if he's interested.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I can't pretend that I'm the one who has been put upon. I can't pretend that I am not to blame.
There's nothing super pressing. I mean, other than we could talk about, we finally got like a camper van so we can drive around and like stay in it when we're traveling. And if I'm gigging, it makes things a lot more fun and simpler. You know,
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Is this something you said you just got it? So what are the perks? Give us the tour. What do
well,
you got there?
we can cook in it. We can go to the
Ooh.
bathroom in it. And I sometimes took my truck. Like the first time I played in Alabama, I had my truck and I had a cot with everything underneath it. And I just kind of squeezed down into the truck. But the worst part was that if I had to go to the bathroom in the night, I had to like get up and go,
Yeah.
in here we can cook a little bit. And it's got a pop-up, so you can sleep up there and you can open windows and see the stars and hear, go to a forest and camp basically for free. So it's just easy,
Yeah,
and
that
you
sounds a
keep
lot
things.
better than the back of a truck.
Yeah, and you do what you got to do. But
Yeah.
and we did, and we stay with friends too. But sometimes, especially when you're on the road, like, it's so good to have like friends to support you and stuff. But sometimes when you're going, you just want to be alone, like you want to not have
Hmm.
to do anything like in terms of social stuff. So that's a good part of it too. Yeah, and it's just fun. It's an adventure, right? Like,
Hmm.
fun.
I
That's a
completely get that. The not wanting to kind of rely on the kindness of strangers, as it were, and just go do your own
Sometimes,
thing, and you don't have to make small talk. You just do the gig and then go conk out somewhere in the forest, and sounds lovely.
yeah, it is. And it just so happened, like, we've been thinking about what we wanted to do for a while. Like, how do we want to travel and see things? And I was sitting at the house one day and I saw this on RV Trader, this van that this family took on a trip during the pandemic.
Hmm.
And they kept it so nicely, and it was priced way lower than anything we'd seen. And I happened to be going for the first time to play in Minnesota, and I was playing a house concert, and I'm like, oh my God, it's an hour and 45 minutes away from the gig. So we could just drive up and get
Wow.
it. Yeah, it all worked out. It was awesome.
That's amazing. How was the first time
Hi,
driving
Heidi.
it? Hi, sorry.
It's
Like
all right.
eavesdropping on the conversation.
I thought I heard somebody. I'm like, is that my voice echoing or somebody
Yeah,
else?
no, it's me.
It's
a
her,
voice.
it's Heidi.
Yes, everybody be quiet. She's here.
Yeah. Oh, what did you ask me?
What was
Driving.
the first time driving it?
Well, Aaron, yeah, I was like a little bit, well, first of all, it's not a fifth wheel, which we knew we didn't want, right? That's just embarrassment. And also I was like, I'm not going to get out of the thing every day and have to like set
No.
it up.
Yeah,
Like, this
Yeah.
is supposed to be like fun. So we were like, I think a van is it. So Erin, my partner, she was the first to drive. She's like, yeah, I'm a little nervous about this, Annie. And I was like, it's fine because it wasn't me.
right.
But it's amazingly simple. Like, the turning radius
Right.
is great. And she said to me, she goes, it's like driving a bus. I'm like I never drove a bus. So, but you're right, like on top, you can see
Yes.
everything. And it's
Mm.
way simple. It is like really a lot like driving a car, except you just have to think about when you turn, like making a little wider because you got that back end, but it's not like, driving one of those fifth wheels or a huge RV, like you're
Yeah.
not, you don't have to, we can park anywhere we want. Like if we want to go get something to eat on the road, we can pull right in. We can't go in a drive-through. And I hope
No.
I never forget.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really great.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with road cones and that kind of nonsense.
No, but
Absolutely not.
that vantage point though, that's so fun. It's just that little bit higher where you can just see everything on top of the world. It's very cool.
It's true. And then when you're up in the pop-up, there are the 3 windows that are, 2 of them are screens. So we pulled up one night, we got there at night. So we crossed over a bridge, a one-way bridge, and we were in the pop top, and we were like, well, it's windy tonight. And it was kind of windy. But then at a certain point, Erin said, you know what, Annie? She goes, that's not just wind, that's a river. We're by a river. And we woke up the next morning like 20 yards away with this like, whoosh,
That's amazing.
So you could just literally just pull up. And
that's awesome. Every day's a surprise.
Right.
I'm in Detroit.
I'm outside of Philly, but I have a
Okay.
family in Columbus in the surrounding environs. So I'm well aware of that part of
my parents
Ohio.
lived in Cleveland. So
Heidi, you dropped something there. Here we go.
Where was it?
my parents lived in Westlake.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for many years.
I
And
grew
I
up
do.
in Avon Lake.
Yes, I know. Very
Ah!
close by. And we had tons of family in the Cleveland area, like Lyndhurst and things like that too. And we
Oh
used to
yeah.
always meet in Perrysburg at the Holodome. It was our big
Oh,
family, like, get together, go swimming, all that good stuff. But yes,
that's
I
great.
know your hometown very well. I love that area. Even, the Detroit, Ohio, Michigan, Ohio, whatever. But I love the Cleveland area. It's awesome.
It's so nice. And I was in like a publisher's office once, and she's like, where are you from? I'm like, Cleveland. She's like, Cleveland. She's like, oh, I got an invite to do like a festival, like a music, not a festival, conference. And she's like, then I saw that it sounded really cool. Then I saw that it was in Cleveland. I'm like, she's like, what's in Cleveland? I was like, well, let's see. a great lake, one of the best park systems in the country,
Yeah.
one of the best orchestras in the country,
Yes.
always in the world, actually. But I was just like, people don't understand like how
No, and
lovely it is.
an amazing museum, art museum.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Just that. Nothing to do with music.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
She
was astounding.
that's hilarious. Yeah,
I did not go back.
No, I wouldn't either. We both of our towns get a little underrated, and we've got some really cool stuff. So it's kind of nice to educate the world on our greatness.
That's exactly it. We should wear capes.
We should. I think we absolutely should.
You're wearing one now, aren't you, Heidi? Come on.
Always. Every single day.
So the one show, or you said you're doing 2 shows in December. One is with the full band. How often do you head out with them? Do you like that? Is that more of the treat, or is it more of the treat of just being able to play by yourself, get a guitar and just go play?
I would always prefer to have somebody with me. Like if I have to pick, it's like I would like duo, trio, or full band.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like to carry it all myself. I can, but I like having a guitar solo in there,
Yeah.
And then as far as like the comparison of those 3 things, like duo, trio, band, it's all a matter of like where we are and what the capacity is of that space to accommodate the sound. Like if it's a great room for a band, then I love it. But I had the trio here in Florida where I am right now. We did like 4 nights in a row here. We were at a house concert and I had the trio and it was great. Like I could hear everything. I could sing. There are some situations sound wise where you're able to sing at the peak of your talent because the sound is so good. You can hear so well. So for me, I don't really like or dislike one of them more or less. I like all of them for different reasons, but it's always sort of hinges on how well I can hear, for in that venue. But I mean, of course, a full band show is always around, like, it's great to have drums and really like flip out.
Yeah. When I see you've done a ton of, like you said, house shows or living room shows, and I feel like this is something that even since the pandemic, I've seen more and more artists doing it in that way and being like, I'm just going to go where the fans are. I'm not going to go through the hassle of trying to book a venue or any of that. Like, I just want to go straight to where the people are and get to interact with them on that level. But you've been doing that longer, pre-pandemic, is that right?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's first of all, with a house concert, you're already like going into a space where the people love music, right? Like the host is they usually play an instrument and they're totally into music and they make it very clear to their audience, like this is a listening time. Like we're not like going to be talking over our Caesar salad while this performer is there, the music is the focus. So for any performer, I think to have that is huge, and then the second thing is usually for a house concert, you don't have to promote at all. They have their mailing list. So they have a group of people that show up, right? And they have a range, like they'll say, I usually get from 25 to 50 people, right? And so the crowd has provided you. And while so many of us independent artists, we're doing everything, right? Like we're promoting. I have Melissa. I just hired Melissa, but she set this up for me, which in the past would have been me or not at all. But so to have one less thing to do, and that's a major one, and one less thing to stress about. Because
Yeah.
you're always worried. Like if I get a guarantee, some artists get a guarantee from a club and they're like, great, I'm done. I get a guarantee. I'm like, oh God, like I got to live up to it. I feel responsible. But
Right.
I think, you know what happened, I think, is that there's so many of us now. Like it used to be like if you were going to do this, you had to invest in a studio to do a recording in order to get a gig, right? Now people can do that at home. No matter how good or bad they are, they can do it. They can make a recording at home. Therefore, they can get a gig. Therefore, there are like 1,000 of us vying for 50 spots at a club. So
Right.
it's pure economics. The demand for us isn't that great. And sometimes I think like the attitude is like a lot of places, I'll say they care about filling seats. So if I got up there and twiddled my thumb, if I filled seats, they don't care. A lot don't. And I'm
Right.
not saying all, but many don't. They
Well, let's
don't.
name
They
some
have a
of
bottom
them.
line.
Call them out
God, I
right
want
now.
to.
Yeah.
I really want to.
But it's got to be great
Um,
that no one's breaking up with their girlfriend in the back. No one's having too much to drink and falling over. Like you said, it's a listening environment when people are there. Also, I mean, the viewpoint, the vantage sight lines have got to be great. So they know that you can see them, and they don't want to be completely rude, I'm assuming.
I think so. And I think the host just makes it abundantly clear. And the other part is like for a person, like a, a performer like me, I write all the music, and it's important to me. Like when I labor over this word or that word, to
Hmm.
have somebody in the audience that actually hears the words and will comment. Like I just did this one in Florida, and this woman, you can see that they're hearing every word. And so for an artist like a singer songwriter, that's the ultimate thing. Is like that, what you've done, your work is important. That's in anything that anybody does, right? You want to feel like the time you put in to make it right or make it the best that you can is worth it, is being heard. And that's what can happen there. Now you can find clubs that are just as good, like they're focused on the music, they're not putting up with any shenanigans, like no, the breakups in the back need to go outside.
Hmm.
But in a lot of time, a lot of cases, like I decided like probably 6 years ago, Aaron and I decided no more of that. Like I'm not playing next to a golf machine anymore. I'm not, and
Yes.
that's a choice you have to make, but you have to stick with it. And it's tempting because sometimes, like, oh, this is going to be lucrative, but I'm just like, I've done it long enough that I want to have a good night every night as much as I can.
Hmm.
For sure. Well,
That's a good night.
and as with most singer songwriters, of course, there's a message in what you're saying, but so much of what you've done is not just a personal story, but they're larger societal issues that you're conquering and tackling and raising awareness of in a really beautiful way. So it's hard if you've got, people going for a hole-in-one next to you. It kind of, kind of screws that message up a bit. So
Yeah,
it's
for sure. And it's a hard thing to do. Like as writers, yeah, that it's our stuff, it's like setting, a say you cooked something. I think a lot of people could relate to that. You cooked a meal, you took the time, to make it just right, and you set it down in front of someone and they sort of don't even see it and accidentally push it aside, like
right.
it's sort of like that. Um,
Right.
and also my shows are not like, it's a whole thing. Like I'm taking you on this like sort of roller coaster ride. It's all planned that way. I'm moving from the mic and we're going over to this, condenser mic, this old fashioned mic, which is its own ecosystem. And we're sitting down and and that's the difference too. There's no way for me to pull it off like you would a play
Right.
if people aren't listening. They
Right.
have to be willing to let me drive, and that can't happen in a setting that's not conducive to that.
Yeah.
Have you regretted making that choice?
No.
It's much better playing for people who give a damn, is what you're saying?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's way better. But the difference is that, well, I don't have to do this. Like I've made my living. I used to have to play 5 or 6 nights a week in order to make it. And in Cleveland, you can do that. It's
Mhm.
awesome that way. You know that, right, Heidi?
Yeah.
Like it's West Side, East Side. You don't.
Yep.
But so I could do that, and I also had a job as like I led at the Aid in like United Church of Christ. I led their modern uh, worship service, right? So, but now I don't have to do that. So I don't want to like um, be misleading to anybody by saying, oh yeah, just like play rooms where everybody's listening all the time. Because
Right.
if you got to do it for your living, boy, you got to do it when you got to do it.
Yeah.
But I will say those house concerts, I have 2 friends who do house concerts almost exclusively, and they kick ass, like monetarily. They're killing it.
And as an artist too, and as a writer, it's got to be great to know that you don't, or do you feel like you don't have that pressure of like, I can write what I want to write, I can talk about the things I want to talk about, and don't feel that, if this record tanks, if this thing doesn't move, you know what I mean? Like, do you feel like you kind of have the leash off in that way as well?
Well, if I'm writing for an album for myself, I trust myself to write something that's universal and that people are going to gravitate toward. That I know how to do. If I'm writing for the market, which that's really my focus now, is I want to cut. So I have a publisher in Nashville right now that has, I think, 6 or 7 of my songs, a great publisher who's pitching my music. That's why I moved to Nashville. It was to
Mm,
write for the market. So in that, Luke, that is, I still have pressure. Like
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got to know what's going on in the market enough that I write something current, but not so much that I write what I can't stand about the market.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not ever going to write about, you know, sitting around a bonfire, getting loaded, and then like, calling, women's like tiny little hands and tiny little feet and how they talk, right? Like that.
Right.
And that was a trick, man, because I tried. Like when I first moved to Nashville, I'm like, I know how to do this to write what they like. Well, unless you are that, you can't. And I really had to like come full circle, like figure out what it was that I brought to the table and then what I needed to do. Like I have a song called Girls and Airplanes that's being shopped, and if anything's going to happen, it's going to probably be with that song. But I, it took me a year to rewrite that. So that's a lot of pressure. Like
Yeah.
I went there with it, and it's always a lot of pressure to be like, okay, this has to be like no longer than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Right. And I kind of think that way anyway. Like on a record, I kind of try to keep it short and sweet, not because it's a rule, but because it works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a reason for a lot of the rules that are good reasons.
Yeah.
So it has to be universal always, I think. And I have to make people feel that I have to. Otherwise, why do it at all? And it's not about me. It is not about me. That's why it has to be universal. So those are rules that cover all writing for me, like whether it's for just like it's a record that I'm making or if it's for the market. It has to be those things. It has to make you feel, it has to be universal. People have to be able to relate to it. Many people have to be able to relate.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to, is this a modern melody? Is this voice young enough on your demo? Like I'm great at singing demos, but I'm not 22. And some of those people listening want to hear 22,
Which is
so
so
the
odd.
pressure is on.
I know.
Isn't Sometimes I think, oh, what a bunch of bullshit, like if the voice conveys what you need it to, then it doesn't matter. And I've had people tell me in Nashville, people, you know, who are in the industry, like, you should always sing it, Annie. You should always sing it because your voice is different. And they're listening to the same voice every day, you know, and they want something. So that was a long answer to your question, but I'm on the leash when I'm writing for the market, but I'm on a leash that's got some length to it.
So the characters in your songs can have normal sized extremities and hat sizes, that kind of thing.
They do. They don't always have to be drunk and then go to church the next day to make up for it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Where's this magical world?
Yeah, come on, girl, get on in here. I mean, yeah, I don't like, and I do have like things on my YouTube channel where I discuss lyrics that guys in country are doing, and I'm like, knock it off, Luke Combs, you're better than this. We go through the whole lyric.
Awesome.
So I just will not, like, I am adamant about that. I mean, if we're artists and we're here to like add something to the world, then I'm not going to add more bad things, especially to women in country music. The women are getting good. I think a lot of the women are starting to come forward with some better stuff, you know. But the guys, like, they like throw you a bone once in a while, but then they're right back to the, you know. So I don't like,
sitting on their tractor. And
it's just they tell you in a workshop, like, you got to write something new. I'm like, do we? Because I'm hearing the same thing over and over.
Right.
It's not taking anything though. Even though you might not agree with the message, there is skill there. Like they're highly skilled, you know. Like, but I just don't think I don't want to hear the same old crap. I want to be enlightened when I listen to a song.
Well, that's why I think it's even more frustrating, because there is so much skill and talent there, right? There's so much skill and talent and brilliance. So it's like you need to just extend that brilliance a little bit further, add it to the message, you know? It just...
Well, but also having a voice that sounds like it's seen something. I mean, maybe it's my Bob Dylan obsession coming through, because that guy, he sounds like he's seen it all twice.
A couple things, a few times,
But like, you want someone who sounds like they know what they're talking about, and if it's pain or anything difficult, like, you know, they've actually felt those things, and this is not projecting onto, oh, this must be what it feels like to have this happen. No, I've been there, I felt that, and you can't fake that singing. I feel like too.
I think that's true. I think it comes through when you are in the song, for sure. And that's what people they don't know, like, what is the magic about this person, but they know it's there, right? Like they know it's there, and they might not quite, the listener might not quite be sure what's the difference between very good and excellent. And one of the things is that, I think that, Luke, that you're right on. But the other part of it is, who's buying records? So again, back down to economics, it's mostly women, and it's younger women, and they don't want to talk. Like, when I was 23, I was like, where's the love story? Where's the breakup? Where's the sex? Where's the, you know, that's, I mean, we just have to face it. That's what most of the greater population of that age is interested in, and they should be. That's their life right now. I get it. But that's not what I do. And I didn't do it when I was 23 either. Not really. I mean, not really. So yeah, in Dylan, you know, it's funny to me. There's so much of him that I listen to, and I'm like, I do not know what's going on. And I know I don't know, because he's so high above us all intellectually, like the things he knows. So it cracks me up when people are like, yeah, I like Dylan. I'm like, why do you? Because in some of it you can listen to and you're like, you totally get it, right? And you know, of course he's been there, but some of it intellectually, I'm like, I do not know that much about Greek mythology. Like, he's like, you know,
translations of samurai stories and how you make that a record. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, he's crazy. I mean, there's a class at Harvard called Why Bob Dylan Matters. I'm like, well, if there's a class in a book, I probably should read it. Take it.
There's a couple books about that guy.
Yeah, one or two.
Oh man.
Couple recent books about that guy.
Are there? I haven't seen. You know who I love though, and I think that doesn't get as much attention as she could, is Mary Chapin Carpenter.
Oh God.
That woman.
Amazing.
I am sometimes just astounded, and Joni Mitchell, of course, but like you can say those things, but when you really start to like look at what they said and when they said it, and like, so Joni Mitchell, I think she wrote Both Sides Now when she was like 21, and I don't know if it was just more ripe at that time, like it was at like 60s or 70s. Like I think the music was different then, you know, it wasn't so what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. But I mean, there's that story that I love that supposedly Dolly Parton wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day. I don't know if that's true. If it isn't, I don't want to know that.
I know.
You know?
Well, I think the important thing is you know it's possible, right? Like she could do it, right?
She could totally.
If anyone could. Yeah.
If you're in the zone, man, if you can capitalize when you're in the zone, you should. You know, like some songs come fast and sometimes it's more than one. And boy, when you have a day like that, stay with it. Like, don't put down your guitar.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go to the bathroom. Do none of it.
Right.
That's why you need the van. You got to make sure the bathroom's right there.
Oh my gosh, I never heard that, but I'm sure we could find out, but I won't tell you if it's not true.
Yeah, I actually think I do know the answer, and I'm not going to tell you either way, just because I would like you to be tormented one way or another.
It's such a fun trivia fun fact too.
It is a good trivia fun fact.
Holy crap. I just heard that in a park yesterday. They were playing Jolene over the loudspeaker. You don't always hear that song.
Not in a park. It's not really park tunes at all. It's a
give me Many Colors in a park.
Oh, there it is.
That's probably more park like.
Yeah.
And what about like also Loretta Lynn?
Oh,
they just passed like that's the aspect of like country when I went to Nashville that I always loved. It was so, I like plain spoken poignant. So like one of my favorite lines ever is in Coal Miner's Daughter, and she says, "The work we done was hard. At night we'd sleep because we were tired." Like, I mean, you would look at that as like a beginning writer and go, big, like I could write that, but she did. Right. I don't know, like that kind of stuff, you know, don't take my man just because you can. I mean, it's so plain spoken, but so poignant.
Yeah, the genius is in the simplicity.
That's it. That is it.
I've been listening to a lot of Bobby Gentry recently. Again, you want to talk simplicity of like so perfect. And
we were just talking about her yesterday.
Oh, she's amazing. Because I read something Margot Price saying how much she loves all of her work, and there's some new collection of all of it on vinyl where I'm just like, I need to dig up some of these records again, because that stuff too that hangs around for a while after you play one of those.
Yeah, like her stuff that she wrote, like their anthems. You know, it's funny, we were talking about her because I just went and saw Reba McEntire for the first time in Tampa. My friend was crazy about it, and she's like, "She's gonna be here. You have to." And I was like, "Okay, we'll go," because she was on vacation. And I thought I want to see her anyway. But of course, she sang Fancy, and Gentry wrote that.
Yeah.
But it's so like you hear it at first, and I'm like I said, like you think, oh, that's easy to write. But it's the choice of certain words, like it's that thing that I said that you want people to hear because you labor over it. And that woman labored over it. I might have been born poor white trash, but fancy is my name. Like, what a way to say something, right?
Right.
And that's the way someone would talk about it too. So I'm so glad you reminded me about her, because I need to get her music and really like get on it. Like listening to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you said when we started off, you said you got to write a new record. Do you?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're not the kind of person who takes notes and you just sort of let all the stuff accumulate and then kind of turn on the spout and see what comes out when you need to, or are you writing things down in scraps of paper throughout?
Yeah, I send myself texts all the time. They're the friendliest texts I get.
You sign them all like XOXO.
Right.
I should do that. That would help me. But yeah, I definitely do that. I write things down. I just say title, like and then I know to put it in a certain folder. So when I get ready to write, so I'm not the kind of person that like writes all the time, but I am the kind of person that's perceiving things all the time and saying, oh, I think that's an important thing. Like I love what that person just said. I'm going to send that to myself. So I have it. But I got to write a new record. And you know what? I can't be like performing. I can't be worried about promoting. Winter is a great time for me in Canada, where we now have a home. We live. It's quiet. There's nobody around, and I like to be alone. Like I need time. I got to go see movies. I have to read. I got to have stillness, quiet, and then I can do it. But I cannot do it like how some people do it. Like, oh, I write every day. I'm like, ew. like I know they say you should, but I feel like I am, because my brain's always going, and everybody has a different way to do it, and God bless Tom Douglas, who co-wrote The House That Built Me, and he wrote Little Rock and God's Will. But I was in a workshop with him once, and somebody asked him, like, how much do you write? And he's like, I write about 10 songs a year. And I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah, because he's such a great writer. So it's, and I heard Billy Joel say in an interview, he said, they're like, do you like writing? And when you're in Nashville, he's like, oh, I love to write. And I'm like, oh, like it's painful and it's hard. It's like saying you like to dig a ditch to me. But he said, I like having written. And that's, yeah. I mean,
so true. Even in writing other things, that is so true. Writing sucks, but having written is amazing. It's the best feeling.
I'm so glad you said that, because it is the best feeling. Like I'm never more excited, except maybe when I have a fish on the line, than when I finish a song, and I can't wait. I can't wait even just to sing it myself. But it's hard getting there, and you got to be committed to do it. But you also have to know how you best do it. Right. Like it doesn't have to be the way everybody else does it. I think I write a bunch of crap when I'm remembering about the warning, parental warning. But I think that, and everybody does. Everybody writes vapid stuff in order to get to the good stuff. But I'm not that patient, and I just feel like I don't want to do it every day. I don't. So maybe I'm lazy, or maybe I'm really smart about the way I need to write. It's one of the two. So
I think you're
but
smart.
We'll see.
You can't force it.
You can't force it, but you really do need to sit down. And sometimes when I do make myself, I'm like, oh yeah. So you do. I mean, there comes a time, right?
Right.
But you just can't. Like I know I have friends that they're like, I wrote every day this week. I had a co-write, for me, that would dilute everything, it just would dilute it all. But like I said, everybody has their method, and you just got to know yours. Right. So yeah, I got to write a record more than I have to write a record. I see anything that I would pitch to the market, I'd put on a record. They're not mutually exclusive. So so if I'm getting one, I'm getting the other, so I'm going to be writing for the market, because my goal in life right now is to get a cut. I don't care. I really don't care much about anything else. I don't mean like people in the world, but in terms of my career, that's what I want. And that's what I'm going to get.
Yeah. Excellent.
But
did I sound like a brat?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
For more information on Annie, to get her records, to find out when she's playing near you, you can check out her website, anniedechant.com.
You can check us out on all the various socials. Be sure to visit our website at rockandrollgradschool.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.
Today's show is produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thank you, good night, and may all your favorite bands stay together.